Okay. So, everybody, today our topic is going to be American government. We're really looking at the beginning of the American government. Okay? So, I'm trying to get this to be bigger. So, today we're going to start with colonial America. Colonial America was when it was not a country yet. Okay? It was before it became its own country, when it was still a colony of Great Britain. Okay? So we were not our own government when we began. We were part of Great Britain. So we had to follow British laws. We had to obey the British king. Okay? So we were what's called colonial America because we weren't the United States yet. Okay? But we decided that we wanted to have a change. We said, we want to be our own country. We don't want to listen to Great Britain anymore. And so we decided we were going to have a revolutionary war. We wanted to get rid of the old government in England, and we wanted to create a new government in America. Does anybody know when this began? The year. There's a very famous year in America, 1776. Why are you guys not taking notes? This is a note-taking exercise. Take notes. Okay, there we go. Oh, 1776. A very famous day. July 4th. You guys have heard of the 4th of July, right?
Yeah.
The 4th of July was when we signed a paper saying, no more Great Britain, we're going to be our own country now. So in 1776, we gave this letter called the Declaration of Independence, right? We want to be free, to the King of England in 1776. He didn't like that. We had a war, right? He sent British soldiers to America and said, no, you're our child, you're our baby. You can't be your own country, you're part of us. And we said, no, we're a big boy now. We want to be our own country. And so we had a war. It lasted about 5 years, so until 1881. And we actually began with what's called the Articles of Confederation, but don't worry about them. Basically, we tried our government one time, and it failed. We tried a second time. And we ended up with the Constitution. Okay? The Constitution is the ultimate, the highest law in America. It's what established our government to be what it is today. And so, here you can see we have the breakdown of that organization. Okay? We have the assignment of powers and responsibilities. Who is going to do what? Who is going to have power? Who is going to make the laws? Who's going to control the people? And we split this into two sections. Okay? Our first section is called the federal government. And that is the law for the whole country. All citizens must obey the federal government. The second assignment of power goes to the state. So the state has power to make some decisions. And a state is a smaller area. Sometimes it's very small. Rhode Island, you could drive drive from one side of Rhode Island to the other side of Rhode Island in maybe an hour and a half. Whole state, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, right? Very small state. California, huge, right? Millions of people in California, right? So we organize this so the federal government can make some laws, and the local government at the state can make other laws. Okay? The organization of the government for the federal level has 3 parts. Has anybody heard of the 3 parts? Okay, the first part, you guys know, is going to be the executive. Okay, so executive. Executive. Can you see that? It's, I have so many pens up here. Some of them work, some of them don't. E-X-E-C-U-T-I-V-E. There we go. I-V-E. Okay. The executive we call the commander-in-chief. That is the president. Who's the American president? Obama. See, you guys know. The second part of the government is what we call the legislative. L-E-G-A, I'm pretty sure, S-L-A-T-I-V. The legislative, that's why I can't remember if it's an A or an E. I'll have to check. Bad teacher. It's the legal. They make the laws. Okay? They make the laws in America. Does anybody know what we call it in America?
Congress?
It's Congress. C-O-N-G-R-E-S-S. C-O-N-G-R-E-S-S. And in Congress we have 2 parts. Does anybody know the 2 parts for Congress? There is the Senate. Senate, S-E-N-A-T-E. Senate, S-E-N.
Senator.
Yeah, like senator. So we have the senator, we have the Senate, and we have the, this one's law. Don't write yet. The second one is called the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives. Right? Represent. Right? Somebody represents something. Okay? So they make the laws. So we have the president who's in charge. Then we have Congress who makes laws. We have a third branch, we call it a branch of government, that says if a law is okay or not okay. Does anybody know what that's called?
Okay.
Yes, it's judgment. The word that we use is actually going to be, let's see here, the judicial branch, just like a judge in a court. Guilty. Right? Or in this case, constitutional, unconstitutional. Right? So it's a good law or it's a not good law. Okay? You guys, have you ever heard of the Supreme Court? The Supreme means like number 1. the number one court in America. They decide what's going to be legal and not. Right now, the Supreme Court is actually talking about gay marriage, if it should be legal or not in America. So if you're following that at all, that's what they're talking about. So we made this Constitution. It split the power into federal and state, and then in the federal government, it had 3 branches. It has the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. When they wrote this, some of the states were like, it's good, but, just like your reading and writing teachers, when you write an essay, it's good, but we need to make some changes. Okay? And so, they made some changes. The first 10 changes are very famous. They were made right away. Right? The states signed it and they're like, we need to make these changes. Okay? And that is called the Bill of Rights. So the first 10 amendments are called the Bill of Rights. Because they were made right away and they're very essential to American culture. The First Amendment is very important to Americans. It gave us 4 freedoms. The first freedom is the freedom of speech. The freedom of speech means that we can say what we feel. We can say what we think. If we don't like the government, we can say, you're doing a bad job. We don't like it. Okay? So we got the freedom of speech. The second one is the freedom of press. And when I say press, I mean the news. Right? The government cannot hide things from the people. For the most part, there's a couple of exceptions. But if the government, if there's a scandal, something, oh my gosh, the government, the president is sleeping with his intern, oh my gosh. It is part of our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, that says the press, the media, has the right to know and tell the people. The third one is the right to assembly. The right for people to get together and protest. Do you guys know protest? We don't like it. No, no, no. We don't like it. So, again, part of our Constitution is that people can get together and express their opinion in public. Again, it's to help the government not become too powerful, so that the people can express their feelings. The last one is actually the freedom of religion. The freedom of religion. In America, you can have any faith, and nobody can tell you you're wrong, or that you're doing the wrong thing. Well, they can tell you, they can't do any action. The government can't force you to change. The government can't say, you must be this religion. Everybody can be whatever they want to be. Believe whom they want. Okay? So the First Amendment really gave us a lot of rights. The Second Amendment, you guys probably all know. Does anybody know the Second Amendment?
You.
No, that's all part of the First Amendment. The First Amendment gave us 4 rights. That's actually all part of this one. The Second Amendment is actually something different. It's the right to bear arms. Bear arms. Show you my arms? Ha ha! No. It means bear, which means have. Arms means guns and weapons. So the Second Amendment says that Americans have the right, it's part of our civil rights, to have weapons. So you hear a lot in America about this Second Amendment, right? The right to have guns. In America, we think it's a civil right. It's one of those basic things that everybody should be allowed to have, if they want it. Right now, there are a total of 27 amendments. So right now we have 27 total. These are a couple of the interesting ones. Number 13, 1864. So number 13 happened in 1864, and it says, no more slavery. Do you guys know slavery? Slavery, where you own a person.
Yeah.
You are my person, you are my thing. If I want to feed you, I can feed you. If I want to kill you, I can kill you. You're the same as my car. When you think about slavery, most people think about black people, right? Black people were slaves, right? White people owned black people. In 1864, our government said, no more. You can't own another person. That is a violation of civil rights, right? Black people are humans too. You can't own them. Number 19 happened in 1920, and it said women can vote. Vote. Say, I think Obama should be president. I think that McCain should be president. So, in 1920, women could vote. So women in America have been voting for less than 100 years. I chose 18 and 21 because I think they are funny. 18 happened in 1920, so the same year, here, and it said in America, no more alcohol. It's called prohibition, if you want to know the word. Prohibition. So prohibition said no more alcohol. That was in 1920. 13 years later, 1933, 21. Okay, alcohol. Give us alcohol. Do you guys know alcohol?
Yes.
Like, oh, yeah. So, 1920, no more. 1933, give us. America lasted 13 years without alcohol. And then they said, give us our alcohol back. I always thought that was really loud. Okay, so that's all of our lesson for today. So I suggest you take notes, compare your notes, and try rewriting your notes, because there will be a 10-point quiz tomorrow. Any questions? Okay, awesome.